Today, we're going to dive into a really profound concept called bhava. It's a Pali word, and, it often gets translated in a way that feels, well, a little distant, a little academic. But we're about to see how it's actually one of the most immediate and personal things that we experience every single moment of our lives.
So when you hear words like existence or rebirth, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's probably the idea of something that happens after we die, right? This continuation of life in some far-off future state. It feels abstract, like something we can deal with later.
But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if the real heart of this teaching isn't about the future at all? The original teaching of the Lord Buddha actually pulls our attention away from all that speculation about the future and snaps it right back to what's happening here.
And that is the absolute key. This whole process of existence, this thing called bhava, it isn't waiting for you down the road. It's happening right now. As you're sitting here, listening, breathing, it's literally unfolding moment by moment by moment.
Okay, so let's dig into this. How on earth can existence be happening now? Well, to really get it, we need to look at what the word bhava actually means.
So the Pali word is bhava, and it translates to being, or even better, becoming. And this is where the perspective shift really happens. It's not some static thing like, I exist. It's an active, ongoing process. It's how we are constantly actively creating our sense of I, me, and mine in every single moment. All right, so if we're building the sense of I, we kind of need to know what we're building it with, right? What are the raw materials? This is where we meet what are known as the five aggregates. These five things, known in Pali as the khandhas, are the fundamental building blocks of any experience you have ever had. I mean it. Everything you think of as you is just made up of these five interacting processes. So let's break them down one by one. First up is rupa, which is form. This is the physical stuff. Your body, the sensations of hardness or softness, hot or cold, movement. It's the material foundation for everything else. Simple enough? Next, we have vedana, or feeling. Now, listen, this isn't complex emotion like love or jealousy. Not yet. This is the raw, primal flavor of an experience before we even put a label on it. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or just kind of neutral? It's that gut-level bodily sensation, which is why you see it visualized here in the chest. Then there's sanya. That's perception or memory. Think of this as the mind's librarian. It sees a bunch of colors and shapes, and it pulls a file that says tree. It hears a vibration and says, oh, that's my phone. It's the part of the mind that recognizes and labels everything. Fourth is sankhara. These are our thought formations, our reactions, our intentions. This is the busy, active, churning part of the mind, the part that's always planning, worrying, creating stories, and reacting to what Sanya just labeled. And finally, we have vijnana, or consciousness. This one's really simple but profound. It's just the basic awareness that makes experiencing the other four possible. It's like the light in a room. The light doesn't care about the furniture, it just illuminates it. Consciousness just knows that form, feeling, perception, and thoughts are there. Okay, so we've got these five components. On their own, they're just natural processes, constantly changing. So where's the problem? Well, the trap isn't in the components themselves. The trap is what we do with them. This is how we get ourselves into trouble. So let's play this out. Imagine an unpleasant feeling bubbles up in your chest. Let's call it anger. At this first stage, it's just energy. It's a raw sensation. It's just a vedana, an impersonal, natural thing that's just happening. But then, almost instantly, the mind does something extra. It doesn't just observe the feeling. It grabs onto it. It starts a story, a commentary. I am so angry. This is my anger. I am completely lost in this anger, and this anger is me. See what happened? We took this fleeting energy and we made it our identity. And that little mental move, that act of grasping onto an experience and claiming it as me or mine, that is bhava. That is the moment-to-moment becoming that we're talking about. It's the creation of a solid-seeming self where just a moment before there was only a fleeting process. So if this grasping, this identifying is the root of the problem, how in the world do we stop? Well, there's a really powerful analogy that makes this whole thing crystal clear. I want you to think of any difficult experience, that anger we just talked about, as a glass filled with painfully hot water.
Now, the suffering isn't just from the hot water, is it? It's from the fact that we are gripping that hot glass with all our might. Bhava is that white-knuckled grip. We think we are the glass. But wisdom is that moment of clarity where we realize, wait a second, I'm the one holding the glass. I'm not the glass. I'm not the hot water. I'm the awareness that is holding it. And if I'm the holder, I can just observe it. I can loosen my grip. And this realization leads us to the most profound part of all this. How does this simple, in-the-moment practice of letting go actually end existence itself?
Well, let's just look at the two paths, side by side. When we operate with bhava, we grasp. That leads directly to identification. Identification causes suffering, and that whole cycle, grasping, identifying, suffering, becomes the fuel for the next moment of becoming. It just feeds itself. But when we choose the other path, to simply observe without grasping, identification stops. Instead of suffering, we find clarity. And most importantly, the fuel for any future becoming, any future grasping, is cut off right at the source.
So here it is, the big takeaway. You don't have to worry about some distant future existence. By learning to stop creating a self, to stop grasping that hot glass in this very moment, you put out the fire right here, right now. When present moment bhava ends, all the fuel for any future bhava is gone. It's extinguished. The chain is broken. And so that really leaves us with a question to take with us, right? Because this isn't just theory, it's a very real practice. Looking at your own life, your own thoughts and feelings, what is the first hot glass you're holding on to right now? What's the first thing you could start to just observe and maybe, just maybe, gently begin to loosen your grip?